What's up, Not Move Podcast? What's going on, millions? It's your boy JB here, and I got NFL legend, man, former player of the Cowboys, Colts, Eagles, and he's with the NFL Network now, analyst Brian Baldinger. How's it going, man?
Jack, I'm good, man. I'm good. It's we're final day of March. It's full speed ahead to the draft. That's my focus right now. I'm right in my film room here at NFL Films, and I'm kind of buried in here for the next 3 weeks, just studying a lot of these players. So life is good right now.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And in your neck of the woods, I can only imagine, especially what you got going with NFL Network, man. I just want to say, man, it's an absolute honor to have you on. I appreciate you taking out the time for us, man. With that being said, let's go into like like I know your history with like you and your family. You had a lot of family in the NFL.
Mhm.
Your brothers, and
Yeah.
such, your father. With that being also like more so, we're seeing that more and more in the NFLs
Mhm.
today. Um, what do you think that is? I mean, is it just because it just runs in the family? It's just what you are. I mean, what was it for you guys? I mean, is it?
Some of it is genetics. You got to have good genetics, to get to that level. But a lot of these, I knew Ron Springs and his son Sean Springs, and I played with Tony Dorsett and was around Anthony, his son. When he was like, these kids have been around it. Around some have been ball boys, some have been in the locker room after games, and so it's just not everybody is cut out for it. Not everybody wants to do it, but if you want to do it, if the game, as they say, if you got the bug and your dad had access or coached or played and you're around the game, I mean, you learned a lot from being around a lot of the players, how to conduct yourself, how to train, how to stay in shape, what they're looking for. Like, there's just a lot of things that, transfer from one generation to the next. And so I think we'll continue to see that occur in the NFL.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's really cool. I really like seeing, brothers, especially like when the McCourties came out and they were
Yeah.
playing. Like that
Oh,
was
yeah.
pretty big, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like that hadn't really happened too much, if any, really on the field. I know that they made a big deal about it. And like with the Mannings trying to get
Mhm.
them in. Um, with that being said, from your playing days, how do you take in and use your, from you playing and evaluate talent today?
The game has evolved for sure, but the basic skill sets of each position has not changed. We put probably a bigger emphasis on measurables now because there's so many ways to sort of measure a player. I mean, we didn't really have the combine when I was playing. When I came out of college at Duke in 1982, there was no combine. There was different scouting services. Blesto, you belonged to it. They did a lot of the measurements and stuff. But I think the basic the core tenets of playing offensive line have not really changed. The rules have not really changed very much over the last 40 years or so. Holding is still holding, and offsides is offsides, and low man wins, and some of those things. And the pass rush, we've seen different types of moves now, but you can
Mhm.
go back and watch Bubba Baker in Detroit, and watch him do a cross chop, just the way we've seen players, Max Crosby, do it now, or somebody else do the cross chop. I mean, a lot of these moves, spin moves and rips. I mean, Howie Long threw probably the best rip of anybody back when I played, and I played with Reggie White. He threw a rip club, and those moves are still in style today. How do you play man coverage? Really, it starts with your footwork, with your eye discipline, with your ability to flip your hips. I mean, those things haven't really changed. The players have gotten bigger, stronger, faster. It's a more
Mhm.
difficult game to officiate, but I don't know that it's changed that much from when I played. The practice habits have certainly changed, and they've had to change because of health issues, and so that's a good thing. But I think when I watch the game and evaluate players, I mean, you're still studying movement more than anything
Mhm.
else and how a player moves. You just see patterns that keep showing up, from certain really good players and players that play at a high level. You can see that movement, and you're looking for that in other players.
Right. No, I agree. Um, What was your favorite moment as a player? Favorite, time, something that happened to you that really stuck out. Maybe a play, certain play. Um,
Well, I mean, I think you just have to. I was an undrafted free agent in Dallas in 1982, and I think the day that Gil Brandt called me and told me I made the team was probably the crown jewel of anything. I was a long shot. There was 125 rookies that year. Six made the team, so I was one of six, the only undrafted player to make it. That was probably the best feeling I ever had playing. But honestly, I played in Dallas. I played in Indianapolis. I played in Philadelphia. Um, honestly, like every single Sunday or Monday or whenever we played Thanksgiving, it felt special to me. I don't know that
I
one
bet.
place was better than the other. I played on a 1-15 team in Indianapolis. It was awful. They voted me the MVP of the team. But even when you're 1-15, you're still going out there and you're
Yeah,
still being able to play a game. And so I think
yeah.
Sundays were special, man. I really enjoyed them.
Absolutely, yeah. I definitely, like I said, I listened to your last interview, and I heard you talk about how much Sundays mean to you still to this
Mhm.
day. Game
Yeah,
day
still.
is absolutely special to you. With that being said, I mean, like, I got a question, man. I mean, you can tell, like, I'm a Chiefs fan. I know I used to wake up, as a kid, I would turn on the locker room show and I'd see your brother there, right?
Yeah.
Um, what do you see? What do you see the Chiefs doing at 9? I gotta know.
Well, they have a couple. I mean, they just lost three-quarters of their starting secondary,
Mhm,
so they've got to replace Jalen Watson and Brian Cook. I mean, they got to replace three really Trent McDuffie. They got to replace three starters. So sometimes if you want an elite corner, you got to spend a top 10 pick. But they let Juwan Taylor go. It looks like there was a glaring need at right tackle. They can pencil in Jalen Moore at right tackle right now. I've never seen him play right tackle. I've seen him play left tackle. I'm not saying he can't, but if Francis Marinoa is there at number 9, I don't know how you could pass on him. There's like you put him next to Trey Smith. That'd be a killer right side, and I think that'd go a long way to helping out Kenneth Walker at running back, helping out
mhm,
Mahomes coming back from a major knee injury. Like I feel like Andy Reid is always going to look at the trenches first, and so
mhm.
at 9, they've got 2 first-round picks. They got the Rams pick as well. Like I see you could still go corner there, but I feel like an offensive tackle and specifically Marinoa, that looks like a natural fit to me.
Yeah, I've been looking at that, and I can't really decide if I see them going line that early or corner. Me personally, just going back, I mean, I seen them get McDuffie at 29, so I mean, I could still see them moving around, but I know how they keep that stock in that, and then use that later on 4 or 5 years down the road to continue doing what they've been doing. Um, Another question I have for you. How do you think that the NIL has affected today's game and going forward? I mean, you have some players that leave and don't take a deal and leave a little early or whatever, think that they're gonna land somewhere and end up not landing. I mean, I know when I was growing up, the whole trajectory of that was way different. I mean, they stripped Reggie Bush of his Heisman because of stuff like that. How has that, in your opinion, changed today's game?
Well, players are playing and staying a lot longer. And players are playing 5 and 6 years right now. Bo Nix, started 61 games in college, and so I don't think there's as big a it used to be before the NIL era kicked in. I mean, players basically played 2 years. They had to stay in college for 3 years to be eligible. We saw a
Mhm,
lot of 20 and 21-year-old kids coming out before this. Now these kids are 23, 24. Logan Jones from Iowa is going to be 25 years old when he's a rookie, a center out of Iowa. So, the incentive to come out isn't quite financially as incentive laced as it used to be. David Bailey, if you listen to the reports at Texas Tech, made $4 million playing football there this year. He could have come out of Stanford. He was a graduate, been eligible for the draft, probably would have been taken high, but it's probably better for David to stay and play a year at Texas Tech, make a lot of money, and really going to be a top 5 pick in this draft. So, I think it can benefit a lot of players. They stay in college longer. They can get their degrees. They're a little more mature. Um, so the hardships that a lot of players had, some still have, but a lot of hardships that players had was the incentive to come out,
Mhm.
after 3 years in college. And so, the guys staying longer, playing a little bit more football, that's probably not a bad thing for the NFL.
Yeah, I can agree in some aspects. I see it going kind of both ways to me. Um, what is your take? I have a question for one of the guys that's in my podcast. What is your take on a player when they're playing in the NFL and they say that they're just not having fun anymore? Um,
Who said that?
we've well, Joe Burrow.
Says not having any
Um,
fun.
yeah,
Well,
that he wasn't necessarily having
injuries stink. Like he's been injured, and so
right,
he's come back from major injuries. It's the worst part of playing,
right.
and it's not fun. Nobody's having any fun. If your teammates are playing, Odell Beckham Jr. is catching passes from Joe Flacco, and you're sitting on the bench rehabbing another injury. Like that's not fun. And so that's my take on it. Is if you're injured, it's not fun. It never is. All you think about is coming back healthy and trying to make sure that you get back and stay healthy as long as you can. But I mean, that's an accurate statement, and I concur. I had my injuries. Life was not fun when you're just rehabbing every day and you don't get a chance to go out there and play on Sundays.
I could definitely see that. Absolutely. So with that, do you think that they go and attack for that offensive line to protect Joe? And give him what he needs there? I mean, to help with that, sense.
Well, they drafted Mims in the first round out of Georgia. He might eventually be, if he's not already, the best right tackle in football. I mean, he's not the best right now, but he has a chance to be the best right tackle. Zeus is their left tackle, and he's protected Lamar Jackson and Patrick Mahomes and Joe Burrow. Like he's still a hell of a player. They've invested, in their offensive line. Can you add another piece to it? Yeah, but Joe also likes to hold the ball and go through his progressions, and but some players can take the hits and get right up and not get injured. And Joe's had some unfortunate injuries, but it's not always the
Yeah.
offensive line's fault. It's not like guys are just turning people loose and just getting beaten. They're getting it's not like Miles Garrett is just being turned loose and he's taking full speed runs at Joe Burrow. That's not happening.
Right.
But um,
Yeah,
some
everybody earns
players
their paycheck.
just can survive these hits, and some players can't.
Understandable. Do you think that after the Super Bowl with New England and Seattle, I know Will Campbell kind of had some issues. Do you think that he's going to be able to make a recovery from that? From everything um, I know we've seen some video of him really working on it, on his mechanics and everything like that. Do you think that it's something that he's going to be able to translate and make a bounce back this year? Do you expect that from him?
Well, he had a good season until he got hurt. He played hurt.
Yeah.
He wasn't 100%, couldn't plant on his leg, and had some rough plays in the Super Bowl and against Will Anderson in Houston, and like a lot of left tackles. But I believe in Will Campbell, the person. Like I know Will. I think he's going to be a good player. I don't think he should move positions. I think he's a left tackle. He started every game at left tackle at LSU. Didn't have any seemingly didn't have many problems. I think he's going to have a bounce back season. I just know the man and the person and whatever issues he had last year. I know the injury. He never is going to say the injuries were part of it. But if you can't plant your leg when these guys are coming at you, you're going to give up pressures, and he did. But he never complained about it. He just went out and played. I think Will Campbell's going to be fine.
Yeah, I think he'll be as well. I seen the other day you posted something about um Randall Cunningham, wishing him happy birthday. How was it blocking for him and playing with him? That experience just had to be amazing.
Yeah, yeah. Randall was. I mean, he's just an awesome talent. I'm just
Yeah.
watching him in practice. Punting the ball, throwing it as far as anybody could throw it. Ability to take off and run as good as anybody that's ever played the game. I mean, I just think he was ahead of his time. If he was in today's offense, I mean, even at the end, he was the MVP of the league, and 1998 with the Minnesota Vikings. He just got better and better with the coaching. Brian Billick coached him in 1998, and Minnesota coached him in Baltimore when he became the head coach. I mean, Randall, he was just ahead of his time. If he was in today's game, the way they protect quarterbacks and the way the quarterbacks run, I mean, he might very well be the MVP of the league if he was playing, in today's game. He certainly could do all the things that Lamar has done. That's for sure. And Lamar's been a 2-time MVP, should have been a 3-time MVP. Josh Allen, Mahomes, he could do the things that all those guys are doing, if not better. Probably had as good an arm as anybody that I just mentioned. So I think that Randall was just ahead of his time. We just hadn't seen somebody like that. Really probably didn't build an offense that really fit his skill set as well as we should have. He should have been running read options. He should have been running, bootlegs a lot more than he did. But we always had a chance when Randall was in the lineup.
Oh, I believe it. That guy was absolutely amazing. What is one thing about today's game? I know the rules and a lot of things have changed and whatnot, but what's one thing about today's game that absolutely just drives you crazy?
I guess just the whole replay system. Like, I understand it, and I understand we got to get the calls right. But I feel like almost every play feels like some Sundays like it's being reviewed. And I just think it slows down the pace of the game and the flow of the game. And so I guess just, and you could look at, the interception by McMillan in the playoff game against Buffalo. Is it a catch, not a catch? And everybody has sort of their take on it. It affected the game. But, we watched that play for 10 minutes and we still didn't know if it was a legit interception or not. And so you can freeze frame this stuff and show the player down and the ball not in McMillan's hands, Jaquan McMillan's hands. But I guess that's the one part, announce games every Sunday. And I guess just the review system. I get it. They got to get it right. But it does take away from the flow of the game.
Absolutely. I definitely agree with you. What is one game that you called that you really enjoyed the most?
Well, there's been a lot of them. There's been an awful lot. Gosh, I did Baltimore, Cincinnati 2 years ago in Cincinnati, overtime game, Joe Burrow, Lamar Jackson going at it. I don't know if it was 40-38. It was a high-scoring game. I mean, that was just a lot of fun to be in the jungle that day, to see the Ravens come back, win the game in overtime, see Cincinnati have a chance to win it, see Joe Burrow. I think he threw 5 touchdown passes that day and still lost. I mean, anytime you get great quarterback play, the way Burrow and Lamar went at it that day, you're just going to have a great game. It's just going to be entertaining for everybody. It's going to be a nail biter. It's going to come down to a play here, a play there, a missed kick, whatever it was. That game just stood out to me. Eagles comeback last year against the Rams in week 4. Block kick by, Jordan Davis, scored a touchdown, steal the game. I mean, there's just, the NFL, there's nothing like live action and nothing like Sundays. Those games kind of like stand out to me.
Okay. Who is the player in this draft that you think is a diamond in the rough?
I think Chris Johnson from San Diego State is a corner that looks like he could do it all. He's over 6 feet tall. He's 195 pounds. He ran a 4.41. He's got ball skills. Like, I just feel like he's a guy that I don't hear a lot of people talking about. You mentioned Trent McDuffie was, I think, the 29th pick at the bottom of the first round. Coming out of Washington, there was Kyle Gordon, him. But Trent McDuffie became the Chiefs' best corner the day he showed up as a rookie and was for 4 straight years. And obviously got rewarded, by the Rams with a new contract and traded a first-round pick to get him and all that stuff that happened. But I feel like, and I'm not saying Chris Johnson is going to be Trent McDuffie, but they are eerily similar. Right. When I watch the two of them come out, I feel like corner is a position that's a premium position. You usually got to find the good ones in the first round. And I feel like Chris Johnson might be a guy that we're all talking about maybe a year from now.
I like it. I like it. Um, I kind of go fast, or go to a little bit different. So I mean,
Okay.
same thing. But I know, like, we've seen, with the flag football deal, right?
Yep.
And we seen Brady come out there, man. And to me, man, I mean, that dude moving at 48 years old, amazing moving at 48 the way he did. I know it's flag football,
Yeah.
but do you think it's anything? I mean, do you think there's any chance that we see him play flag football in a career?
No.
No.
No, I don't. The kid was. Look, they're ramping up to the Olympics for flag
Mhm.
football. It's a good thing. When fantasy football came in, it was good for the league. It was good for the fan base. It was good to grow an audience. Flag football is good to help grow that sport. It's a different sport than the NFL. I'm all for it. Kids are playing it. That's great. Anybody that's playing football at any level, whether it's Pop Warner or flag or powder puff, whatever it is, like anybody that's playing, it's a good thing. And if we're playing it globally and around the world like we are, that's a great thing. And so Tom Brady out there playing in a flag football, game with Joe Burrow and stuff, like I don't see anything wrong with it.
Right.
Um, Tom Brady's not going to play in the Olympics. Um, but I think it gave the whole sport a big boost, and we'll see a lot more stuff about flag as we build up to the Olympics and that sport being in the Olympics for the first time.
Absolutely. Um, Going back to football, right? Going back to, I know there was a big fiasco between the Raiders and the Ravens and the trade that was to be and never happened. Um, how did that really affect things? Do you think that really affected the way that the draft is being approached now, since that trade didn't happen?
Mm. Well, I mean, the Ravens did sign Trey Hendrickson, who's a very accomplished pass rusher as a default. Max Crosby going back to the Raiders makes the Raiders better. He's their best player. So those two teams, I think, have improved. The fact that the Raiders got their star player back, and the Ravens got their first round picks back, and they got Trey Hendrickson signed. So I feel like honestly, it's a win win for both teams. Um, I feel bad. I'm good friends with Max. It's kind of an embarrassing situation on his behalf, but he's motivated and he's got incentives to show the Ravens that they made a wrong evaluation of his knee. Um, and so I think it's kind of water under the bridge now. But the Ravens got their first round picks. If they want to go draft one of these edge rushers to go with Trey Hendrickson and last year's second round pick Mike Green and kind of build their defensive front, in a Jesse Minter style, they've got that ability to do it right now.
Um, Before we go, Baldy's breakdowns, man, how long you been doing this and when did you start this?
Uh, I started it when I got an iPhone. I had a flip phone for a long time, and I got an iPhone like 7 or 8 years ago. And I used to do a show for the NFL Network on Monday mornings called The Aftermath. And I would get into the film room usually around 4 o'clock because the show started at noon, and I wanted to watch as many games as I could. And when I was in there, I just saw certain things that I wanted to make sure that we talked about. And so I would record it with my phone. And really, from the first day, maybe like 8 years ago or so, when I started posting it, it just, caught a lot of people's attention, players, coaches, owners, fans. And I felt like it was a missing component to all analysis, and I felt like I had a descriptive way of analyzing this stuff. And, the players liked it. Once I knew the players liked it, I kind of felt like I wanted to keep doing it. I enjoy doing it. I love it. And, it really has helped my brand a great deal, doing this business as long as I have. It's been good for me. It's been good for everybody that watches, I think.
Absolutely. I know there's a lot of us in the Not Move podcast, and a lot of the sports communities that we're on that really do appreciate what you do
Thank you.
with that. Absolutely, man. We're big fans, man. A lot of people, like, was, hey, man, I got this interview with Brian Baldy, and it was like, yo, no way, and I really do appreciate you taking out the time for us and for myself. This has been a major honor for me.
Yeah, no
Um,
problem, Jack.
I have one more question for
Yep.
you. I
Okay.
have a guy, Coach Common. He's in the podcast. He's a offensive line coach. He played for a little while. he has a question because there's been some talk about different, texts and whatnot, and lining up in the four, the three, the two, the one. He's got a question. The five I. What is it? When was it started bringing up? Where do you line up? He wants to know because he's been coaching and doing this since the '80s, and he's like, "Yo, I've never seen it. Something
Yeah,
new to him."
well, I mean, just the five eyes, just your head up on the offensive tackle, defensive lineman, tackle or end in a 3-4, usually in a 3-4 defense. And so, the zero technique is on the center. The fives are on the offensive tackles. Five eye, probably inside eye, probably a little inside shaded. Just to be able to take the cutbacks, the cutoffs away. And then use your hands to be able to play front side. But five technique is just head up on the tackle, defensive lineman head up on the tackle. Inside four eye, guy would be inside the offensive tackle. Three technique in between the guard and the tackle. A two eye, head up on the guard. A one technique between the guard and the center. Zero technique head up on the center. Seven technique inside eye of the tight end. And so you basically got these 9 gaps. All right, and depending on where the defensive lineman is lined up, they're given a certain number that is affiliated with that particular position.
Well, I know you just answered everything for him and for a lot of us, man. Again, thank you so much, man. I wish I could
Yeah,
shake
my
your
pleasure.
hand.
Yep.
And I would love to, I know you're a busy, busy man. I would love to try to, some other time get another interview with you later down the
Okay.
road, closer to football season. Maybe talk about like, the draft, the preseason or something like that. Whenever you got time, and I would love to, have another conversation with you.
Well, we'll try to schedule it up here, Jack. It's been a
Sweet.
pleasure, man. Thank you for having me.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
it.
Absolutely.
Yep.
No, thank you. Thank you so
Okay.
much. I appreciate you.
All right. Thanks, man.
This non casual podcast may not be reproduced, retransmitted, or reused without the authorized written consent of the Not Move Podcast Network. Thank you, and we hope you enjoyed today's broadcast.